Hello everyone, back to you in today's video. We're doing the weather for the weekend. Today we're going to have a look at the charts from weathercentral.de and the weatheroutlook.com. Both of those websites can be found on my links page. To see what weather's going to be doing in the coming week. We've got some very interesting weather actually on the way. First half of the week really dominated by rain, flooding as well. I think we are going to see some more very serious flooding across some parts of England and Wales in particular through the first part of the week. And as we're getting through into the second half of the week, the weather starts to become much colder. Still quite a lot of uncertainty about this, so how extensive the cold is, whether it brings any wintry weather in. Still open to quite a bit of uncertainty, but certainly going towards the end of the week and next weekend we are probably looking at our first major proper cold spell of the winter. Now before we go on video, I just want to talk about the advertising. There'll usually be a video ad overlay my web videos at gavswebbiz.com. Please play those videos. You should be supporting gavswebbiz.com by doing that. Also want to mention Gav's Shop. You can get to Gav's Shop from any of the pages on my website here, and once you go through to Gav's Shop, you can have a browse through the items that I've listed in Gav's Shop. But you are not restricted to those items. If you want to buy anything at all from amazon.co.uk, just click through any of the Amazon banners. You'll go through to amazon.co.uk, and there you will be able to buy absolutely anything you want. They do everything you can imagine at Amazon. So have a look at that when you get the chance, and you'll be supporting gavswebbiz.com with that endeavour as well. So starting off with the radar picture from the UK Met Office. The UK Met Office website can be found on my links page. This was the situation at 9 o'clock this morning. We had some quite heavy rain already starting to develop along the south coast, coming into the southern counties, and as we've gone through the morning, that rain is pushed north and become more extensive, so that now many parts of central southern England and Wales has turned wet. The rain is pushing up in towards the Midlands and parts of central Wales as well at the moment. It'll carry on northwards through the afternoon, turning much of England and Wales wet, and some of that rain will start to turn very heavy down to the southwest. We can see these bright colours here through southwestern parts of England already. The pinks and reds indicate some very heavy bursts of rain. They'll become more extensive down in the southwest through the course of this afternoon, just where we don't need it, because that's where the rivers are at their highest through southwest England, parts of Wales and Midlands. Very high river levels there already after Wednesday and Thursday's deluges, and this rain that's falling today and will fall through the course of tonight as well will only exacerbate the problem. So this is the pressure chart from GFS model for 6 o'clock this evening. We've got this deep area of low pressure down to the southwest, 995 millibars. That's the troublemaker coming northwards, taking that rain north across England and Wales. So all parts of England and Wales will turn wet through the course of the afternoon, with heavy rain setting in, persistent rain as well. The persistentness of this rain, I think, is going to be the main thing about the rain. Really will be very persistent through this afternoon and through much of the night as well, and it's, as I say, it's turning heavy down to the southwest. Now for northern England, Northern Ireland and Scotland, we've actually had some fog patches through the course of this morning. Some of those fog patches will linger on in place, be very cold where that happens, with temperatures barely getting above freezing, but otherwise outside the fog there should be some sunny spells coming through, although the cloud and rain does push up into parts of northern England by this evening. Temperatures, when it's a cold day, generally between around 5 to 9 Celsius. 9 is 48 Fahrenheit. But as the isobars are tightening here, so as the winds get up, we are going to feel it even colder than that in the south, turning really quite windy. And of course, where that fog lingers up in the north, temperatures really will be very suppressed indeed. Now that low pressure will deepen even more overnight, becoming a major and intense feature across the British Isles. Look at these isobars wrapped around that low pressure. It's going to be very windy, gusts of wind perhaps up to 50 or 60 miles an hour in places, so that is up to gale force, and it will be blowing down trees and branches across some southern parts of England, I think, through the course of the night. Also got that heavy rain moving northwards, so a really wet night for much of England, Wales, pushing up into northern England, central, southern and eastern parts of Scotland by the end of the night. Could be some snow on the leading edge over the higher ground of Scotland. Eventually the rain will ease off across southern parts of England, but we are looking at another 15, perhaps 60 millimetres of rain in some places. That's over 2 inches through parts of southwest England, South Wales, perhaps South West Midlands. So yes, over 2 inches of rain. The river's already full up, as I say, so that rain's got nowhere to go but spilling out, really. So I'm afraid we are going to see more very sad scenes of flooding in quite a number of places, I think, by the end of the night and through tomorrow. Temperatures tonight, no real problem with all of that weather going on. They'll hold up above freezing, away from the far north of Scotland where there could be a frost. Now for Sunday, we're seeing that low pressure clearing off into the North Sea. The next area of low pressure, though, is developing down to the southwest. We've got the very, very briefest of transient ridges here. So we'll have a wet morning across eastern and southeast parts of Scotland, northeastern England, strong winds as well. That'll clear away into the North Sea through the morning, and then a fair amount of dry and fine weather coming along, a few showers scattered around, but quite a bit of sunshine until later on, when this next area of low pressure comes into the southwest and brings more cloud and quite heavy rain in towards southwestern England by the end of the afternoon. Temperatures tomorrow probably around 5 to 9 Celsius, again 48 Fahrenheit. Now that low pressure will move north across England and Wales through the course of Sunday night, giving another spell of rain, and this is the chart for Monday, with low pressure here sitting across southern and southeastern parts of England. It's not as deep or as intense as tonight's low pressure is going to be, but nevertheless it's still enough to produce quite a cloudy, wet day for much of England and Wales, with persistent rain. Again, that is just going to exacerbate the flooding situation on Monday, so quite a cloudy, wet day for England and Wales. Scotland, Northern Ireland, eventually Northern England, we start to pull down this cold northerly wind, but that'll at least feed in some sunny spells, but also the chance of a few wintry showers in the north and the east of Scotland. Temperatures quite cold on Monday as this northerly wind starts to develop, so we're looking at temperatures in the north of just 3s, 4s and 5s, 6s, 7s, maybe up to 8 Celsius in the south. As I say, it's really quite a cold, raw sort of a day, particularly in the south where it'll be cloudy and wet. Now that low pressure is still hanging around to the southeast on Tuesday, so again I'm afraid for the Midlands, eastern England, East Anglia, southeast England, cloudy day with outbreaks of rain, some of that rain quite persistent, perhaps not as heavy on Tuesday, but certainly still quite persistently damp and wet, really, with this cold northeasterly wind. Elsewhere, for Northern Ireland, Scotland, Northern England, maybe eventually Wales and southwest England will turn brighter with some sunny spells. Actually could be some freezing fog patches for Scotland and Northern Ireland under this ridge of high pressure, and quite frosty to start off with on Tuesday, but otherwise we're seeing the cloud and rain gradually moving away from Northern England, Wales and the southwest to reveal some sunny spells. But we're all in this cold north to northeasterly wind. It'll be a raw wind, particularly in the southeast, with temperatures of just 5, 6 or 7 for many of us, and colder than that of course in the north where we've got any lingering fog. Now finally on Wednesday, that low pressure will be clearing away to the east, and then we're starting to build a high pressure in from the west. So I think for East Anglia, South East England, we could still be at risk of some showery rain first thing on Wednesday, but that will gradually clear away, and then many of us actually having a fine day on Wednesday with a fair amount of dry weather, sunny spells, a few showers scattered around, particularly in the northeast, but really the emphasis for Wednesday will be on drier or dry weather. Excuse me. Temperatures will be quite cold again, though, particularly in this nagging northeasterly wind across the southeast, up to around 5 or 6 degrees, really, for many of us. It is going to feel really quite chilly in that wind. And again, for Scotland and Northern Ireland, I think I've got to be concerned about freezing fog patches, because here the winds are light, we haven't got any ice bars, so freezing fog, I think, really the problem for the north as we go into the middle of the week. Now moving through into Thursday and Friday, this is when the cold air starts to try and move in from Scandinavia, but there's a lot of uncertainty about this, how these areas of low pressure in the west interact with this ridge building over Scandinavia and to the north of the British Isles. Very open to question, but we're going to go with the GFS run for the moment, and this is suggesting that by Thursday rather, again, we've got a lot of dry weather across many parts of the country, so it'll be helping the flooding situation. Some showers coming onto this eastern coast with this east to northeasterly wind, and those showers could be wintry across northeastern parts of England in particular, but the rest of the country has light winds. So this is Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales, southwest, light winds probably freezing fog and some hard night frost starting to set in as the air really is starting to get really quite cold now from the east of the northeast. This low pressure stays out to the west, but if this comes in, it could bring more rain in the latter stages of the week. And then by the time we get through to Friday, this really is very, very speculative, very uncertain. But this morning's GFS run wants to bring in this cold easterly wind, and this bringing proper cold air out of Scandinavia now. So we've got cloud and outbreaks of rain perhaps developing across England and Wales, turning increasingly wintry over northern England, North Wales perhaps turning to snow, not just over higher ground but over lower ground as well. It'll be cold and raw with temperatures of just 3, 4, 5 degrees at best, and again freezing fog probably the main concern for Scotland. And again, as we go into next weekend, this is very speculative. Not all the model runs are agreeing with this, but this morning's GFS continues to bring in this very cold east and northeasterly wind. This would be bringing increasing risk of snow to many eastern parts of the country. Could be some quite significant snow turning up actually over northeastern parts of England if this is right. But again, I've got to emphasise that this is highly speculative for the end of the week. I'm going to have to keep you posted on this through next week. I will be keeping you posted about this, what's going to happen for next weekend. But if this is right, this is suggesting some quite significant snow potential for northeastern parts of the country in particular. But all areas probably seeing the risk of snow showers coming in with this easterly wind. And temperatures barely getting above freezing for quite a number of places. So it's quite a potent easterly wind showing up this morning on the GFS, but as I say, not all models are agreeing with this. Finally, have a look at the charts from the weather outlook, and this is the rain coming up from the south today. It's just going to get heavier and more widespread and more persistent as we go through the course of this afternoon into this evening. Really wet evening setting up, winds getting up as well, so a very unpleasant Saturday and Saturday night. The rain is in the northeast as we go into Sunday. It'll be clearing out into the North Sea with more in way of dry and bright weather coming along for the afternoon for many parts of the country, so things calming down. And then as we move through into Monday, well, it's a case of more rain, particularly for England and Wales. Could be quite heavy and persistent rain once again. Still the rain and showers here in the southeast on Tuesday. Temperatures dipping down all the while, becoming really quite cold, but Scotland's mainly dry, although we have got to worry about freezing fog up there. Finally, all of the rain is out of the way as we go into Wednesday, and a better day for Wednesday with good sunny spell, but it will be cold. Freezing fog becoming more and more of an issue really across many parts of the country. Fine again in many places for Thursday, although by this time uncertainty is starting to creep in again. Frost and fog the main problem early and late. By the time we get through to Friday, very uncertain, but chances of some showery rain here across northern England in particular, maybe other parts of England and Wales as well, and an increasing risk perhaps of that rain turning wintry, not just over the higher ground but maybe on some lower ground across northern England as well. But again, it's very uncertain what happens at the end of the week and into next weekend. So in summary, we're looking at more very heavy rain and stormy winds for the next few hours. Rest of today and tonight, really very wet indeed. Going to be more problems with flooding, unfortunately. And it stays unsettled through the first part of next week with more rain for England and Wales in particular. Then from around middle of the week onwards, it turns drier, colder as well, but at least the flooding situation will start to ease from the middle of next week. End of next week could turn really quite cold, wintry, and particularly into next weekend. But it's a long way off. Not all models are agreeing, so I'll be keeping you updated through the week, so keep checking back. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.